Good morning. This is Pastor Jason from Kona Faith Center with the word for today. And the word for today is acknowledge. In Acts 15, Peter said God acknowledges people by giving them the Holy Spirit. Wow. In the great debate about circumcision and keeping the law, Peter says that it is the baptism in the Holy Spirit that is the mark of God's approval. God acknowledges people by giving them the Holy Spirit. Now, Peter is referring to his experience with Cornelius in Acts chapter 10, which happened about 10 years earlier. While Peter was preaching, the Holy Spirit fell on the Gentiles, which greatly astonished the Jews who were with Peter. Now, they knew the Holy Spirit had been poured out because they heard the Gentiles speaking in tongues. God acknowledges people by giving them the Holy Spirit. James then quotes God in Amos, saying that God will call all of mankind. James then says we should tell the Gentiles to abstain from things polluted by idols, from sexual immorality, from things strangled, and from blood. Interestingly enough, these seem to be in relationship to Jewish people not being ritually defiled. 3 of these commands are directly related to the religious rituals involving the sacrifice of animals that was popular in all cultures at that time. Sexual immorality was probably being referred to mainly in the ritual sense, as it was a major part of idolatry in the pagans, although Jewish people who highly valued purity would find it difficult to fellowship with sexually immoral people. It's important to recognize that these 4 regulations of a ritual nature that allowed for Jews to fellowship with Gentiles without becoming defiled do not negate in any way the moral law, such as the 10 Commandments. Moral law was already assumed by the church. All Christians live by moral law as laid out in the Old Testament. Morality was not the issue at the Jerusalem Conference. Fellowship was. Fellowship between 2 diverse groups of people, Jews and Gentiles, had 2 completely different cultures. So once again, being led by the Spirit, allowing the Spirit to lead, allowing the Spirit to guide, allowing the Spirit to order, allowing the Spirit to direct, allowing the Spirit to teach, allowing the Spirit to train, allowing the Spirit to tell us about things to come. This is God's acknowledgement of who his people are. So be filled with the Spirit today. Be refilled with the Spirit today. Be led by the Spirit today, because in doing so, you acknowledge that God has acknowledged you. The word for today is acknowledge. God bless. Check in tomorrow.